Hey guys, what's going on? So today I have an album review for the new Shining album, Shining 10 VARG UTAN Flock. So I want to do more reviews of 2018 releases this year, just 'cause I didn't do that very much last year, and I don't know, I just thought it'd be fun to do. So yeah, so I listened to this album today, and I thought it was really damn good. So yeah, I took a lot of fucking notes while listening to the album. So yeah, for this review, because I'm really terrible at reviewing albums when like it's not something I own. So yeah, it was obviously it's a 2018 release. I believe it came out like 3 days ago. It is 41 minutes and 20 seconds long, which is really good. That's something that Shining are very good at doing, is making really good length DSBM albums, because they're not like, they don't drag on extremely long like a lot of DSBM bands do, but they're not super short. They're usually around like half an hour to 40 minutes long, which is pretty good. So yeah. But anyways, this album opens up. I don't know how to pronounce any of the song titles, so I'm not going to name out of the song titles because I don't speak the language that Shining have their songs in, which I believe is, I'm pretty sure it's some sort of Swedish language. I don't want to say it's in Swedish because I don't want to sound like an idiot, because I don't know for sure. I know I sound stupid, but yeah. Anyways, the first song on here, it starts out with like Nicholas saying something, and then it gets like really fast. And honestly, the first song isn't really my favorite on the album. It's a good way to open up the album, definitely, but it's not as deep or as interesting as the rest of the songs on the album. It has a very fast and repetitive riff. It's kind of like a more empowering riff. It doesn't sound depressing at all. It mostly just sounds like your standard, like not palm muted, but like fast, just metal riff in general. Which is cool though. And then it goes to like a more slower part with like an acoustic kind of thing, which is something that Shining do a lot in their discography. Is go from being really fast to being like slow and melancholic, which is cool. And there's a guitar solo similar to the first song on their classic album, Shining 5 Homestead. There's the guitar solo sounds almost identical, which I thought was kind of funny. I actually haven't heard anyone else say that, because I read a few reviews on this album because I was curious to know what other people thought of it. But the guitar solo was similar, but that's not a bad thing at all, though, because that was a really good guitar solo. So yeah, the first song is pretty cool. The second song is awesome. It's a little bit more mid-paced and very dreary sounding. There's at one part of the song there's like somewhat melodic kind of vocals, which is cool. Nicholas's vocals on this album aren't terribly different from what he usually does. Just that very like crazy, unique style of vocals, where he'll go from like whispering to doing these weird operatic sounding kind of vocals. He just sounds like a madman. Not quite gutturals or screams, but just like just an unorthodox style of vocals that's very unique. As a person, he's fucking retarded and demented in the fucking brain, but his music is amazing. Anyways, that was really random. But the second song is really good. Like I said, a little more melodic, more mid-paced. So yeah. The third song, it has like it starts out with like some like really palm muted guitar riffs, which is cool. It's a little bit faster. And then there's a very bitter sounding acoustic part, which I really like. There's more clean vocals in the song, which is cool. Nicholas is really good at doing clean vocals, which he does a bit on this album. Then when the slow part ends with like this, and like the way it is like there's one part where there's like this slow part, like I said, like it's like an acoustic slow part with like arpeggios, that typical thing that Shining does. And then the slow part randomly ends with this crazy wail from Nicholas, and then it goes back to being like palm muted and more like fast, I guess. And I thought that was a really cool transition. So track 3 is one of the best songs on the album. There's 6 songs on this album, not counting the bonus tracks, which are on the Deluxe Edition, which I did not listen to. So yeah. But anyways, so yeah, track 3 is pretty good. The fourth song on the album is probably my favorite as of right now. It opens up with this very dramatic and tragic sounding tremolo picked riff. And then it kicks into this fast part with these really angry and like sadistic sounding vocals from Nicholas. And then there's like this part, I guess it's like you could call it the chorus. There's a very strong verse-chorus pattern in the song, which is kind of interesting because it's something that Shining don't do very much. But there's like these really crazy fast blast beats in the chorus, and there's like this high pitch. It's not a guitar solo, but it's a more high register sounding guitar part over like the tremolo picked riff. That sounds really crazy and demented, which is something that's really awesome in the song. That's probably my favorite part of the song. So yeah, and then there's like a verse chorus pattern until that breaks, and then there's this very demented kind of like mayhem-esque, very nightmarish sounding riff, very evil sounding. Kind of reminds me of the second riff from Freezing Moon. It's Shining do a lot of stuff like that, so it's kind of like that, and then the guitar drops, and then it's like just the bass and the drums, and then like Nicholas kind of lets out this evil kind of laugh, and then he does these really creepy sounding evil vocals until like there's this haunting acoustic arpeggio. I'm having a hard time describing this. That plays, and then it goes back to the fast part with the blast beats and everything. But I thought that was a really good song. It's about like 7 minutes long, I think, and it's probably the best song on the album. It's a little more aggressive than the rest of the songs, but it has just as much emotion as the rest of the songs. So yeah. The fifth song is actually an instrumental, and it's just on piano, I believe, or keyboard or something. It's very like, I don't know how to describe it. It's very ominous sounding, but at the same time somewhat comforting, which is very interesting. So yeah, it's pretty short. It's like 3 minutes long. Definitely the shortest track on the album. It's the second to last. And the last song opens up with this like really reverb-drenched acoustic guitar. This chord transgression. God, I can't talk. It's very like dreamy sounding, but still kind of ominous. Like it feels very comfortable, but like something isn't quite right, which is very interesting. So yeah, then like these really deep mumbles kind of come from Nicholas's vocals in that song. Like it's difficult to explain. Like it's not quite a mumble, but it's not really a whisper. It's just he's like singing very quietly in a super deep voice, and he'll go from that to clean vocals. There's a very beautiful guitar solo on that song, and I think some of the lyrics to that song are in English, but I'm not entirely sure. But it's very uneasy sounding. There's also another part of the song where it's like really quiet, and then there's just a random fast part, which was kind of interesting. It's very doom-laden sounding at one part, as if something like really bad is about to happen. It's really interesting concept-wise. And then there's this and then like the album ends with this really empowering, bloodthirsty sounding guitar riff, which I liked a lot. And that just keeps kind of playing. And then there's a guitar solo, and then the album ends. So overall, I would give this album probably like an 8 out of 10. The only problem I have with it is that it's a lot of the riffs and stuff aren't as memorable as a lot of Shining's other riffs from their other albums, like Shining 4 and 5, which in my opinion are their best. But it's still a solid album. There really isn't much wrong with it. I mean, just Shining doing what they do best. It's not terribly different from anything that they've done in the past. I haven't listened to a lot of their discography after Shining 5, which I should probably get around to doing. But, yeah, the production is very clean, so if you don't like black metal with clean production, you probably won't like this, because it's sterile, but it has a lot of richness to it. Like, you could still hear everything very, like, I'm having a really hard time explaining this. It's very, like, clean sounding, but you could hear everything really well. But it doesn't suck the life out of the music, so that's cool. There's a little bit of repetition on this album, but not a whole lot. The atmosphere on this album is amazing. And there was like the perfect atmosphere to listen to this album today because it's been raining like crazy all day. And this afternoon I was home alone and I was listening to this album, and the atmosphere was just like perfect. It was a little bit dark out because it was really cloudy and it was raining, and like it was just the perfect atmosphere for this album. And I had a really fun time listening to it. It just takes you on this dark, really weird and ominous and demented, but somehow a little bit comforting musical journey. So yeah, Shining are a great band. You know, very messed up and disturbing, but just amazing DSBM. I know that Nicholas has said in the past, like, oh, Shining isn't black metal because DSBM turned into something that I don't like because it wasn't the same as my vision, which I think is kind of stupid to say, because obviously he isn't part of the other bands in the whole fucking genre. But I don't know, it's a little bit more progressive than your average DSBM band, but it still sounds like your standard DSBM, but it doesn't sound like generic by any means, because Shining is one of the definitive bands of the genre and one of the most popular. But that's it for this review, I guess. So yeah, Shining with VARG, UTAN, Flock. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely check out the album. and I'll see you guys next time. So yeah, bye.